What happens when humanity's most cherished virtue becomes its greatest weakness? The message appeared on every screen at Lunar Base Alpha at once. Lieutenant Kate Voss froze mid-step, coffee mug halfway to her lips. Your politeness has been noted. Your species will now be harvested. What the hell is this? Kate asked, looking around the command center. No one answered. Every face stared at screens, showing the same message in bold text. Commander Reeves tapped his console. Is this some kind of joke? Security breach? The base shook. Lights flickered. Warning alarms blared through the corridors. Multiple objects entering lunar orbit, called out Specialist Garcia, her fingers flying across her station. Nothing on scheduled arrivals. They're big. Really big. Kate rushed the observation deck. Through the reinforced glass, she saw them. Massive crystalline ships, their surfaces catching the sunlight like cut diamonds. Beautiful and terrifying. Command wants response options, Reeves said through the comm. Standard first contact protocols. Kate grabbed the comm. Sir, something feels wrong. These ships didn't announce themselves. We follow protocol, Lieutenant. Prepare welcome transmission. The base shook again. Harder this time. Sir, they're scanning us, Garcia reported. Deep penetration scans. There, a blinding flash lit up the lunar surface. The western habitat dome cracked open like an egg. Bodies and equipment tumbled into the vacuum. They're attacking, Kate shouted. Return fire. Reeves hesitated. We need authorization. We can't just... Another flash. The command center view screen showed Earth. Dozens of the crystal ships now orbited the planet. Cities glowed with strange light. Global communications intercepted, Garcia said, voice shaking. Earth governments are sending welcome messages, requesting diplomatic talks. Kate watched in horror as the ships responded. Beams of light struck each city that had transmitted a greeting. Washington, Beijing, London, Moscow, all gone in seconds. They're targeting anyone who responds politely, Kate whispered. The base comm crackled. Admiral Chun's voice came through, strained and urgent. This is Emergency Directive Alpha. All Earth forces. Do not attempt diplomatic contact. Repeat, do not attempt diplomatic contact. These entities, designated Cortex, are hostile. The transmission cut off. On the screens, more cities vanished. Sir, we need to evacuate, Kate said. Reeves stood frozen. The perfect officer suddenly lost. Protocol says, protocol will get us killed. Kate grabbed his shoulder. Sir, please. The base rocked again. Warning lights flashed red. Oxygen levels dropping. Transmission incoming, Garcia called out. A voice filled the command center. Smooth, pleasant, unnaturally calm. Greetings, Lunar Base Alpha. We appreciate your courteous response to our arrival. Please maintain your position for harvesting. Kate lunged for the weapons console. Shut it off. Don't listen. Too late. Reeves straightened his uniform and smiled vacantly. We welcome you and will comply with... Kate tackled him mid-sentence. Around her, half the crew stood at attention, faces blank and polite. The others backed away, confused and frightened. They're controlling them somehow, Kate said, dragging Reeves toward the emergency pods. Anyone who follows protocol, it's taken over. Through the viewport, Kate saw a crystal ship approaching the base. Its surface shifted, forming what looked like a giant mouth. Everyone who can still think for themselves, get to the escape pods now, Kate shouted. And whatever you do, don't be polite. The escape pod crashed into the Nevada desert 3 weeks after the first attack. Kate kicked open the dented hatch and helped Garcia out. The sky above them burned orange, thick with smoke and dust. We need to move, Kate said, scanning the horizon. Those things might track the pod. They trudged across the cracked earth, the distant ruins of Las Vegas barely visible through the haze. Twice they ducked behind rocks as crystal drones zipped overhead, their surfaces glinting in the dying sunlight. There, Garcia pointed to a half-buried bunker entrance. Military emergency shelter. The heavy metal door screeched as they forced it open. Inside, the air smelled stale. Emergency lights flickered on automatically, revealing a dusty command center. "Hello?" a voice called from the shadows. "Identify yourselves?" Kate raised her hands. "Lieutenant Kate Voss, Lunar Base Alpha. This is Specialist Garcia." A man stepped forward, rifle aimed at their chests. His uniform was torn, face dirty. "Major Frank Dawson. How do I know you're not infected?" "Go to hell," Kate spat. Dawson lowered his weapon. "Good answer. The polite ones can't say things like that." He led them deeper into the bunker. 20 survivors huddled around screens, showing satellite feeds of the ongoing invasion. Half the planet was dark. Every city that sent welcome messages got harvested first, Dawson explained. Military bases that followed contact protocol fell within hours. The only survivors were the ones who broke ranks. "They feed on politeness somehow," Garcia said, dropping into an empty chair. "It's like they farm it." Kate studied the screens. "We need to warn people." "Form a resistance." "Already started," Dawson said. "We call ourselves the Rudeness Initiative." Not very catchy, but it works. He showed them a makeshift lab where scientists worked on captured cortex technology. A small crystal shard pulsed with light inside a containment field. "They emit signals that trigger social compliance centers in the brain," a scientist explained. "Makes you want to follow rules, be polite, wait your turn." Then they harvest the neural energy this creates. "How do we fight them?" Kate asked. "By being assholes," Dawson said. "We've developed jammers that block their signals. And we're teaching survivors to communicate through insults and confrontation." An alarm blared. Red lights flashed across the bunker walls. "Cortex ships approaching," someone shouted. 5 minutes out. "They must have tracked your pod," Dawson said, grabbing his rifle. "Everyone to battle stations." Kate followed him to the weapons locker. She grabbed a pulse rifle and checked the charge. "Government's still trying to negotiate," Dawson said, handing her extra ammo. "Idiots keep sending peace delegations. Each one gets vaporized." The bunker shook as something massive landed nearby. Dust rained from the ceiling. "They're here," Garcia called from the monitor station. "And they've brought something new." On the screen, Kate saw Cortex ships deploying small silver objects that floated toward the bunker entrance. "Politeness enforcement drones," the scientist said, voice shaking. "They inject nanobots that override the host's behavior. Force them to be excessively polite." The bunker door creaked under pressure. Metal groaned against metal. "Everyone ready," Dawson ordered. "Remember the new protocol. Shoot first. Never apologize." Kate positioned herself behind a barricade, rifle aimed at the door. Her hands trembled. The door burst open in a shower of sparks and twisted metal. Silver drones flooded in, humming with artificial pleasantness. Behind them walked former humans, their faces fixed in permanent smiles, hands extended in greeting. "Hello," they said in perfect unison. "We're here to help you be more polite." "Fire," Kate shouted. "Don't let them touch you." Pulse rifles lit up the bunker entrance. Silver drones exploded in showers of sparks. The smiling humans kept walking forward, unfazed by bullets hitting their bodies. "They're using them as shields," Dawson yelled. "Fall back to the inner chamber." Kate grabbed Garcia and pulled her toward the heavy blast doors. A drone zipped past her ear, needle extended. She smashed it with her rifle butt. The survivors retreated deeper into the bunker. Dawson slammed his hand on the emergency panel. Thick metal doors slid shut, cutting off the advancing horde. "That won't hold them long," he said, breathing hard. "We need to move." They rushed through narrow corridors, emergency lights casting harsh shadows. The walls shook with distant explosions. "This way," the scientist called. pointing to a hidden elevator. There's an old military level below this one. Cold War era. Off all networks. The group crammed into the elevator. As the doors closed, Kate saw silver liquid seeping under the blast doors. The elevator descended with a grinding noise. When it stopped, they stepped into a dusty command center filled with ancient computers and paper maps. "No one's been down here in decades," Dawson said, flipping switches. Old lights flickered on. Kate moved to a wall of filing cabinets. She pulled open a drawer labeled Classified, Extraterrestrial Encounters. "Look at this," she said, holding up a yellowed folder. Records of a Cortex visit from 300 years ago. The group gathered around as she spread photos and reports on a table. "They've been here before," Garcia whispered. "Multiple times." The documents showed crystal ships over colonial settlements. Reports of people becoming strangely polite before disappearing. "They harvest in cycles," Kate said, flipping through pages. Each visit coincides with peaks in human civilization's emphasis on social order. Victorian England, the scientist noted. Ming Dynasty China. Ancient Rome during Pax Romana. A distant boom shook dust from the ceiling. "They're breaking through," Dawson said. "We need a plan." Kate's radio crackled. Other resistance cells reported similar findings worldwide. The Rudeness Initiative was growing. Survivors learned to communicate through insults and confrontation. "Military forces have adopted shoot-first protocols," a voice reported. "It's working, but civilians are protesting. They think we're becoming monsters." Another explosion, closer this time. "We need to hit them back," Kate said. "Not just defend." Dawson pointed to a map. "There's a Cortex scout ship that crashed near here. If we could capture it." The ceiling cracked. Silver liquid dripped through. "Move," Kate ordered. Everyone to the emergency exit. They ran through dark tunnels as the facility collapsed behind them. They emerged into the night air half a mile away. The bunker imploded in a cloud of dust and debris. From their vantage point on a hill, they saw the crashed Cortex ship. Its crystal surface glowed faintly in the moonlight. "If we can get inside," Kate said, "we might find their weakness." They approached cautiously. The ship's hull was cracked, but intact. No signs of drones or polite humans nearby. Kate touched the crystal surface. It hummed under her fingers. A seam appeared, widening into an entrance. "Ready?" she asked the group. They nodded, weapons raised. Kate stepped inside. The walls pulsed with light, revealing strange symbols etched into the crystal. At the center of the ship sat a control panel. "Look at this," Garcia said, pointing to a star map. "Earth is marked. But not just Earth. The map showed hundreds of planets, all labeled with the same symbol. "Farms," Kate whispered. "We're not the only ones." The ship suddenly powered up. Lights flashed across the control panel. A message appeared in the air before them. Politeness Farm Designation. Earth. Status. Active harvest. Warning. Resistance detected. Deploying final solution. "Get out now," Kate shouted, pushing everyone toward the exit. The ship sealed itself shut. Crystal walls grew over the entrance, trapping them inside. "Final solution deploying in 5 minutes," the ship announced in a pleasant voice. Garcia rushed to the control panel. "I can't read any of this." Kate slammed her fist against the crystal wall. "There has to be a way out." The scientist examined the star map. "These controls might work like ours. Try touching the Earth symbol." Kate pressed her hand against Earth's marker. The ship hummed. A new display appeared, showing the Cortex mothership in orbit. "Look," Dawson said, pointing to a flashing section. "That might be their command center." A scientist studied the symbols. "I think this ship is still connected to their network. We might be able to access their systems. Or fly this thing up there," Kate said. "Hit them where it hurts." Garcia's fingers moved across the panel. "I think I can restart the engines." The ship shuddered. Lights flickered. "Engine restart sequence initiated," the ship announced. Returning to mothership for maintenance. The crystal walls vibrated. Outside, dust swirled as the damaged ship lifted off the ground. "Everyone strap in," Kate ordered, finding seat-like formations that grew from the floor. The ship accelerated upward. Through the transparent hull, they watched Earth shrink below them. The sky darkened to black. Stars appeared. "We need a plan before we reach the mothership," Kate said. "They'll know something's wrong." The scientist examined a pulsing crystal in the ship's center. This might be their communication system. "If we could send a message to Earth." "Tell them what?" Dawson asked. "Be rude?" "Exactly," Kate said. "If everyone on Earth started acting unpredictably at once, it might disrupt their harvest." Garcia worked on the crystal controls. "I think I can broadcast on all frequencies." Kate recorded a short message. "This is Lieutenant Kate Voss. To survive, reject all politeness. Be rude. Be unpredictable. Fight back." The message sent just as the mothership came into view. It was massive, a city-sized crystal structure orbiting Earth. "Approaching mothership," the ship announced. "Docking in 2 minutes." "What now?" Dawson asked, checking his weapon. Kate studied the control panel. "We need to plant something in their system. A virus." The scientist nodded. "If their whole network runs on politeness, what about a rudeness virus?" They worked quickly, programming the ship's computer to transmit aggressive, impolite commands throughout the Cortex network. "Docking complete," the ship announced as they connected to the mothership. The crystal door dissolved. Beyond it stretched a vast chamber filled with pulsing light. Thousands of human bodies floated in crystal pods, their faces locked in polite smiles. "They're farming them," Garcia whispered. A larger crystal formation moved toward them. It shifted, forming a roughly humanoid shape. "Welcome back, Scout Vessel 347, it said in a pleasant voice. "You have brought us more polite ones." Kate stepped forward. "Go to hell, you crystal freak." The Cortex commander recoiled as if struck. Its surface cracked slightly. "Rudeness detected," it hissed. "You are contaminated." "You bet we are," Kate said, activating the virus. "And now, so are you." The virus spread through the crystal network. The mothership trembled. Pods began to crack open. "What have you done?" The commander shrieked, its pleasant tone breaking. "Started a revolution," Kate answered. Alarms blared throughout the mothership. Crystal walls fractured. The commander's form destabilized. "Self-destruct sequence initiated," a voice announced. "All Cortex units evacuate." The commander lunged at Kate, crystal limbs extended. "You will die with us, impolite one." Kate dodged the commander's strike. Crystal shards sliced through her jacket sleeve. Blood trickled down her arm. "Get to the escape pods," she shouted to the others. "I'll hold it off." The mothership shook violently. Cracks spread across the walls. Humans in pods woke up, confused and terrified. Dawson fired his rifle at the commander. The shots bounced off its surface. "Weapons don't work," he yelled. The scientist grabbed a broken crystal shard. "Use their own material against them." Kate snatched the shard and drove it into the commander's core. The creature screeched, its pleasant voice distorting into something inhuman. "You cannot stop the harvest," it hissed. "We have farmed your kind for millennia." "Not anymore," Kate said, twisting the shard deeper. The commander shattered into 1,000 pieces. Behind its broken form, Kate saw a pulsing fungal mass, the true Cortex form. "Everyone move," Garcia called from an exit portal. I found the escape pods. They ran through crystal corridors as the mothership tore itself apart. Freed humans stumbled after them, dazed but alive. 10 minutes to self-destruct, announced the ship. They reached a bay of small crystal vessels. Kate herded survivors into the pods. "What about the others?" Dawson asked, pointing to thousands of pods they couldn't reach. Kate's face hardened. "We can't save everyone. The final escape pod launched just as the mothership exploded. The blast wave sent them tumbling toward Earth. Through the crystal hull, they watched other Cortex ships flee into deep space. 6 months later, Kate stood on a hill overlooking the ruins of Washington, D.C. Construction crews worked to rebuild, but progress was slow. The world had changed. "General Voss," Garcia said, approaching with a tablet. "The UN meeting is starting." Kate nodded. She no longer corrected people about her rank. Such formalities seemed pointless now. They entered a makeshift conference room. Representatives from surviving governments sat around a table. No one stood when she entered. No one offered pleasantries. "The Rudeness Initiative monitoring stations are online," Kate reported. "We can detect Cortex approaches from 50 light years away. Crime rates are up 30%, a European delegate said bluntly. People refuse to follow basic social rules. "Better rude than dead," Kate replied. Scientists presented their findings. A controlled rudeness protocol that allowed for cooperation without vulnerability to Cortex influence. "We need to maintain some social structure," a scientist explained, but never returned to blind politeness. As the meeting ended, a diplomat approached Kate. He extended his hand in greeting, the old way. Kate noticed a faint silver glint in his eyes. She stepped back, refusing the handshake. "Security," she called. "Containment team here now." Guards rushed in. The diplomat's skin cracked, revealing a small crystal probe underneath. "How did you know?" Garcia asked as containment teams secured the probe. "He was too polite," Kate said. "We don't do that anymore." That night, in her quarters, Kate reviewed global security feeds. Humanity was adapting, learning to balance necessary cooperation with healthy suspicion. The communication system beeped. A message from Deep Space Monitoring. Kate read it, her blood turning cold. A transmission had been detected, aimed at a distant galaxy. The impolite ones are evolving. Initiate protocol civility. She stared at the stars through her window. The war wasn't over. It had only just begun.